Don't get in my way now.
Welcome to the GSTL, the only GSTL we have this week because there is a rescheduling, so enjoy it while it lasts. See how long it lasts today. We have, of course, FXOpen against TSL.
Yeah, and if you just look at the lineups of both teams, you can actually expect a lot of ZVZs today. That's at least what most people would expect, seeing those two teams in their roster. But today, the opening match does not feature a single Zerg player. It's going to be a pretty interesting match, though. I have no idea who's going to win here. It's actually going to be pretty tough for both teams.
It's going to be, it's just like what we had last time. It's hard to tell who's going to really take this match. It's going to be close. We may go to a game 9. I think that's entirely possible. The starting players were actually made public earlier. That's going to be really interesting. I don't want to talk about it too much yet, but Choya up against Sonori, that is just so cool. It's the coach of a team who's kind of got a funny personality against the former team member of FXOpen.
And the funny thing is that Inori has never won a game in the GSL studio. Yeah. As far as I know, not even a single map. I talked to the TSL coach earlier, and he was like, okay, today he might actually win one. And he wasn't too sure about it. He said like the chances are 50-50. Choya, on the other hand, he's kind of known for his sneaky builds. He really loves to proxy. We've even seen proxy Colossus by Choya in Protoss vs. Protoss.
Yeah, he's proxied Stargates as well to do Phoenix play, just like out of weird locations. He's pretty flexible, I would say.
Yeah, he's Calm Before the Storm, the double Stargate that he built at the bottom left of the map while starting at the top right, and then suddenly completely overwhelmed his opponent. These are just games that stick to you. If you see Choya play, that's the games that you will always remember.
Yeah, that is very well said. He Colossus dropped QXC in Team League back when FOU was separate from FXOpen. Now, here's our winner prediction here. You can see it's actually extremely close. 50.6 versus 49.4. That is... that's pretty much as close as it gets.
Yeah, exactly. So today, I don't know what exactly to expect. We have so many Zergs on both rosters, but of course we're having a quick look at the team info in order to go into detail here.
Yep, let's take a look at that information. As you can see here, TSL is a totally Zerg-dominated team. 6 Zergs, 3 Terrans, 3 Protoss, and to be honest, as far as which players they send out goes, pretty much always send out the Zergs. Most of their Protoss and Terrans they have are just not used.
Of course, the best player for the TSL team is Symbol. He is just the backbone of the team, the strongest that they have. Might be the last player that they send out today.
I really like the times. I wish that they still did it this way, where they have, if like for example, Symbol has both stats, like they put 2 pictures of Symbol down there. That'd be scary, man. Imagine if your team has 2 symbols, like he just has a clone. There's 2 symbols on your team. Oh my god.
I don't even want to think about it. Just think about LGIM. Suddenly you are facing 2 MVPs, and you're like, what? No. The opposing team starts screaming and runs out of the studio, and we're like, no, we're not ready for this. But well, that doesn't happen today. There's only 1 Symbol on the bench, but he is here. We've seen him already earlier, and they will enter the arena very, very soon. And this is going to be, of course, a little bit dominated also by the first game. If Inori is actually able to win his first match in GSL history, that would be quite epic. On the other hand, I did not expect Choya to play at all. After he took after he became the coach of the team, he didn't put himself into the lineup anymore, and he still played in the Codec qualifier. Was not able to qualify though. But in the TSL, in the GSTL so far, we haven't seen him.
Yeah, he's been a bit absent. Ever since that time where he came out with, instead of Oz, I think he's been kind of hiding. But here, of course, is the FXOpen team. Some with jackets, some without. Some are Leonok and some are not, but...
Lucky Leonok, all of them are here. And to the left we have, actually, Choya. He punched me earlier.
Yeah, he's known to do that. You gotta look out for Choya. But I have to say, really like FXOpen as a team. They're very close-knit. They've been together since the FOU days, and so many decisions that they make are smart. They win team leagues not by necessarily having the best players, the players who do the best in individual leagues, but together they are strong. They have a great way of thinking about picking maps. They're the smartest team, I think, in GSTL. I don't even know if that's arguable.
The best player for FXO in the individual ranking for the GSTL so far is the Protoss player Tier.
Yes.
And well, let's have a quick look at the lineup just in general before we go further into the individual rankings. Here we go, starting with the Zerg players, Lucky Leonok, Sirius, Whale, and JKS. Sirius especially strong in the individual league right now.
No, we have Choya, who's the coach, is actually a player as well. A very unique case, and Tier as the Protoss. And last but not least, the Terrans Gumiho playing yesterday, of course, the best. Last but not least, ASD. ASD able to knock Mana out of Code.
Yeah, indeed. And Sirius, on the other hand, he's doing pretty well these days. A lot of these players are actually quite strong in Code A, well represented. Linog, of course, was in Code S, but in the end he lost to Tasia.
Yeah, FXOpen is starting to kind of leak out into all sorts of places, you know. Team leagues, individual leagues, international events.
Lucky is one of the players who is neither in Code S nor in Code A. It was pretty sad when he lost in the Code A qualifier. He was actually advancing, I think he advanced to the final, but in the end he lost. It was a little bit sad. He was really confident that he would be able to get back into Code A, but right now he's a bit of the sad story of the team. Very strong player, but just a bit out of luck.
Yeah, just announced today as well, FXOpen getting a Twitch sponsorship, so that's just something to note. I have a lucky timing on that, I guess.
Here we have the TSL team, though. Here they are in the middle, Shine and Cold. They don't face each other this time in the third round of Code A.
I guess not. And not going to be facing each other today either, but this team is very close-knit. This, you know, TSL has always been one of the smallest teams in Team League, but every single player has a face you recognize.
Yeah.
You've got that strong mentality of these guys work together closely. They are a team, but also they are a family.
That's actually putting it perfectly into words. They are really a family, a very good team spirit. And it's pretty interesting that the lineup is still so dominated by Zerg. Of course, we have with Inori a Protoss player, we have a couple of Terran players. Cold is standing out, but there's also Center and Punisher. In the end, though, the Zergs are the backbone of the team. This makes them a little bit predictable.
Yep. I have to say that I think that TSL has a very good chance of making it to the semifinals, or I mean, at least semifinals, but even potentially the finals this season with how strong they're looking so far. Here is their team broken down by race.
Starting, of course, with the Terrans here. As Paul is the captain, Bolt, Punisher, and Center.
Yep. And, of course, we have here the Zerg lineup. Ragnarok, Hyun, Symbol, Revival, and Shine.
A really, really strong Zerg lineup indeed, and here are the Protoss players with Inori and Value.
You can see they just don't have, neither of them have GSL rankings, quote unquote. Like I said, Inori has never won a match in this studio before. And Coach Lee made an appearance at the studio today as well. Does not always do so, but he looks like he's been putting a lot more time into actually physically being here recently.
Yeah, he was not only at the last GSTL match that they played, but he was also at the Code A matches that we've seen just last week.
Was that? I didn't see it because it was on the edge of my screen, but hey, Hyun got a haircut?
Hyun? No.
No, he's... No. That's not true. He didn't get a haircut.
Nah. He's just strolling around the entire time. He won 9 IPL Fight Clubs in a row. His next opponent is, if I'm not mistaken, actually I'm not even sure of that public, so I'm not going to spoil that.
Well, here is Choya. He is starting over here for FXOpen. He is the coach. This is the man with a plan. He is responsible for so much of his team's success because of the way his brain works and how smart he is about map picks, player picks, and maps together. Sirius is actually trying to destroy our studio right now, meanwhile, off camera, but everything is okay. You can see he doesn't come out too often in Team League, but he has appeared several times. Not so much recently, though.
And he's facing a Protoss opponent, so we will see a mirror match in our first game at the GSTL between TSL and FXO. Starting for TSL, it's a Protoss player who was so far really, really unlucky in the Mokdong studio. It is Inori.
Yep, there he is.
Counter success rate 0.
Yeah, 0-4. And
Inori is just, I don't know, he's always so unlucky. He played really well when he played at the Code A qualifier. He was able to defeat Lucera, for example. Then he plays in the first round of Code A. He loses immediately, drops back into Code B. He's a really nice guy. He speaks English very, very well. Good training mentality. He's happy to stay in the team house again. He said that when he came back to TSL, that helped him so much, also to improve his skill. But every single time that he appears here in the studio in Mukdong, for some reason he seems to be a little bit off and is not able to win. Maybe he will break the curse today.
I think that there's a good chance of that. He's playing against Choya, someone who helps manage the house in Seoul here. He also is the coach of the team and makes a lot of decisions on the bench. Now also practicing quite a lot. This guy he doesn't stop. He's like a multi-talented man. Now the first map will be Cloud Kingdom as shown on screen here. Choya's rolling up his sleeves. This is going to be sick. I cannot wait to see Choya actually in the booth playing that match.
Yeah, we haven't seen him play in the studio for quite a while. He played in online leagues, especially in the IPTL, but he was not one of the players that FXO chose so far when they were playing in the GSTL. But here we go, the game number 1 is going to start. Inori up against Choya in a Protoss versus Protoss. Here the GSTL TSL is up against FXO. Starting to the top right of the map, Cloud Kingdom in orange. We have the first player for Team FXO. It is the captain, it's the coach, the manager. It is
FXO Choya.
The man behind FOU now stands as the coach of FXOpen.
one of the guys who is he always has an ace up his sleeve, always a sneaky strategy that he might execute. He's up against a fellow Protoss player, another Son of Ire. Starting to the bottom left for TSL, we have Inori, as mentioned, really unlucky in the Mukdung studio. He has never won a single game here. But if you just look at his recent gaming history, not only at the online matches that he has played, but also at his performance at IEM Cologne, for example, he did really well. In the qualifier for a set tournament, he defeated MC with a 2-0. And if you just look at the Protoss versus Protoss history in general, he did not lose a single map in several months, when you just look at the televised matches, of course. So this is a matchup where he right now feels apparently really confident, and we will see. We will actually witness if he can beat Choya here and get his first win in the studio.
He may be able to do just that. I'm really excited to see what builder we're going to see from Choya. And this is Protoss versus Protoss, so you know there's a lot of different strategies that can be picked here. It's a matchup with multiple choices, but in this matchup you have to stay within the boundaries of being able to defend, because as everyone knows who watches StarCraft, Protoss units are expensive but extremely cost efficient, and they're very strong when you keep them together. So Protoss versus Protoss, oftentimes if you try to take a risk or do something funny, you're going to die, you're going to lose your Nexus. So that's why this match was for a long time actually 4-gate versus 4-gate only, because Protoss units are so strong.
On Cloud Kingdom these days, what we see most of the time is one of the players going for Blink Stalkers, though. It's a very good strategy on this map. You played with the robotics so that you have vision on the high ground and can blink into your opponent's main base. And I think the best games, actually the most interesting ones, is if one of the players decides to go for an expansion and tries to defend it while the other one is being the aggressor on one base. I really enjoy these type of matches.
Yeah, it really shows the clash of aggression versus defense. Pros pass each other here. Now Choya does have his second gas up significantly faster than Inori does. He's also going to be scouted first, so both players are going to know what's up. They're both taking 2 gases. There's not going to be any 4-gateway play here, no shenanigans like that. Zealot Patrol is actually becoming much more common recently, I've noticed, especially against Terran, but I like that because usually if your opponent doesn't control, then he's going to lose the probe if you don't if you've got that Zealot Patrol.
The one advantage that Choya definitely has over his opponent is that he has a lot more experience in the booth. He has played in the Mukdung studio several times. He is the coach for his team, and well, this will definitely help him a little bit just with his confidence and to keep his calm, keep his cool. On the other hand, though, I'm not sure how much Inori is affected by this. I don't want to call it a curse, but it's really kind of showing that he's affected. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pattern here that so far he hasn't won, and we keep harping on it, but it's pretty important here, and it will definitely affect his mindset. We have one probe still hidden in the main base of Choya. Yeah. Inori could actually drop pylon here.
He could, and also even more important than that is that he'll be able to scout the tech. but unfortunately for him, the tech hasn't been planted, so he shows the probe, and he's going to see 2 gates, which he already knew, but there's no tech at all. But he is going for Blink. He's got his Twilight Council finishing up. He's adding his 3rd gateway right now.
And Choya is getting his own Twilight Council. It's very much delayed though if you compare it to Inori's Twilight Council. The TSL Protoss already completed his structure and is now researching Blink. Choya just started his own Twilight Council and has therefore to be very, very careful.
He has a lot more resources banked up that he's not quite able to spend just yet. He may add a robotics very soon with the extra gas he's got, but Inori, he's at his right now.
Yeah. Inori wants to have the Observer. He wants to have high ground vision in order to blink in. And if he's choosing a good timing here, then he will be able to do a bit of damage. Oh wow, Choya going straight for the Dark Shrine here. He does not get blink at all. He wants to be very sneaky. But the thing is, we will have the first Observer out. And I think with how the timings work here, Inori will be able to spot what's going on and then just play it safe.
Yeah, he's got the Sentry as well. That is the most critical unit to have in this situation, because even if you have the Robo, you need time to send the Observer back home. So having that Sentry, even sitting as Stalkers now in pole position at the top of the ramp, this will not work.
This is a very difficult scenario for Choya to pull off. Of course, he starts to expand right now with his DT expansion strategy here, but the DTs will most likely not do too much damage. Now the Observer is being built, Choya is gearing up with additional gates, but if Inori builds a second Observer and keeps it close to his main base, there's no way that Choya will do a lot of damage. He might be able to sneak a DT in though. If there's a gap in the wall at the front and if Inori is a little bit too slow to realize what's going on, Choya might be able to pull this off after all.
Yeah, his Stalker placement is not actually perfect here. He's even going to move out. This is an unfortunate timing for Inori, because right now the Dark Shrine is finishing. As he's moving out, he has no information about this. This is the worst possible case for Inori and the best possible case for Choya. He can also just pull back up the ramp and defend when the units arrive at his base. He will have to face the Observer, so he can't use the DTs to defend at home.
Yeah, the big problem though is if Inori doesn't see that there is a DT, then suddenly he will be in a position where he has to defend his main base, and there is no Observer. He will have to Chrono Boost one. He will have to use Warp-ins. Choya's base is also pretty much exposed, and he has a lot worse of a stock count here. But the DTs are now entering the main base of Inori. He immediately pulls his probes off, starts another Observer. He needs to be very, very careful here though.
Back at home though, Choya is in so much trouble. He can't use DTs to defend. He is facing he has the worst Stalker count, and he does not have Blink.
Supply blocked, the pylon goes down, now he's supply blocked, and we have in the main base of Inori now one Observer, and he's trying to kill those DTs. At the same time, we have the Blink action going on in the main base of Choya. Inori is backing off. The Harvester count right now 21 to 10 in favor of the FXO Protoss, and Choya is looking so strong here.
Yeah, it's all about these Stalkers that he's got. He's not going to have any more, and Choya now has his own Blink. This is looking really bad. He's going to be able to blink down on them if he chooses to, but he has money. His opponent has lost so much mining time, and not only that, but he's down to 10 probes.
It looks like the curse of Inori is
It
true.
continues, man.
This is not going to be a pattern any longer. This is definitely going to be a curse. He is so far behind in the Harvest account, and Choya now has the better stock account. He has more probes. He's building everything that he needs, and he will be able to take Inori down, if not for a miracle.
He's just making only Stalkers at this point. The DTs were killed, but the stock count is 14 to 9. Choya actually could expand if he wanted to here. He does not have an Observer, so attacking up this ramp is not going to be easy, and I don't think it's going to be the right choice either. He's going to have to get a Blink, and he won't with that Sentry there.
He can now choose to either be really aggressive or to just try to expand and play the safe, but he has a perfect position. He's trying to move in right now, individually blinking his Stalkers back, trying to dish out as much damage as possible. The Stalker count is still in favor of Choya, but he has to be a little bit careful. If he overcommits here, he might lose his advantage.
You're right, and that's why he cancels his plan. He's like, wait a minute, let me get a Robo back home, because he also has Blink. You know, that's always a concern. He makes a Sentry as well. And this is the moment where Choya's like, wait a minute, how can I lose this game? What if he goes DTs? I don't have anything for DTs, and he knows that because he's been on my base. He knows I don't have a Robo, so now he's going to get that Sentry out and get the Robo up, and then make a Nexus. So just realizing that this game is not over, he wants to be cautious here.
Yeah, he's very far ahead of his opponent, and he is in the know. So he plays his strengths right now. He knows exactly that Inori can't put too much pressure on him if he doesn't go for DTs, which the TSL player indeed does not do. But Choya adding now the robotics. He can go for an expansion. He already has 600, 700 minerals floating. scouts everywhere on the map, actually.
He's like, all right, everything is safe, it's secure. I'm gonna grab a Nexus, and he's got his observer out now. He will likely start Immortal production before getting the robotic support bay, because he doesn't have to get the support bay yet. There's the Immortal. And Inori is basically just dying slowly here. There's not really anything that he can do to catch up. He's going to have to hope for luck, really.
If Inori gets a perfect engagement, kind of catches Choya completely off guard with its pants on, then maybe he will be able to get back here. But if Choya is playing this just straight up, he will definitely have the edge over his opponent. He is 15 supply, 20 supply ahead right now. His expansion is a little bit faster. Of course, Inori also has less harvesters than his opponent, but it's looking a little bit better than it did earlier. So right now, if he gets a good engagement, he might be able to come back into this game, but of course the advantage definitely in favor of Choya.
This is a bad place for Choya to fight. He just used his blink.
Oh my god, this is exactly what we just talked about.
No hesitation on that attack by Choya, but it was the wrong choice to make.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to use his Guardian Shield there. The Sentry remains at 120 energy right now.
You know, these decisions, this is exactly what we talked about. With decisions like this, Choya loses 4 Stalkers, doesn't gain anything at all, and Inori is getting a bit closer to his opponent. So if Choya is making mistakes like this, he might lose the game after all. Has to be very careful here. The DT is being spotted and immediately shut down.
This is another lost investment for Choya. It's not the end of the world to lose a DT like that. The problem does still persist. He's going to be able to use the DTs later to be annoying if he chooses to as well. But the worker count has been rebuilt for Inori.
Yeah.
He does have the Nexus up now. They're both going for robotic support bay at the same time. The one real big advantage that Choya now has in his hands is that he's got the better Immortal count, 3-1, and that will become so crucial in the first fight that they take with the Colossi.
The robotics bay is spot on here, and this is going to be quite interesting. If Choya makes another 1 or 2 small mistakes, then TSL Inori will be able to catch up completely. He already has roughly the same harvester count as his opponent, as you can see here, 35 worker supply to 40. But he's still a little bit behind, but Choya has to be careful, as already mentioned. He has the better count in Immortals, but the first Colossus for Inori.
Yeah, I'm feeling like Choya better not make any more rash decisions, or he's going to be wishing that this game turned out differently, because he's...
Oh, nice. Did you see that, how he baited him?
Yeah.
And this time Choya actually didn't fall for it. The one Stalker at the Zanaga Watchtower, and Choya's like, wait a second, this looks way too tempting.
That was actually a great choice by Choya there.
That was an awesome trap by Inori.
A lot of people would have made the mistake there. I probably would have.
Yeah, if you blink down and take the Stalker, then the rest of the Inori Stalkers will just rip you apart.
Yeah. This is a scary spot, though. Choya actually can backstab. He's going to be able to go right into the main base. There's nothing to stop him. He actually could catch this Colossus. It looks like he's going to rally that to the army, though, so he's going to be able to save it. Now, notice again, Choya checks the Observer, and he's like, wait a minute. Okay, this is fine. Could get the core, but he's going to go for probes.
Tries to reduce the harvester count, but here comes Inori. A nice split by Choya. Let's see how Inori reacts. He's trying to take down 4 of these Stalkers, and he will do it. He will pull it off. In total, Choya killed 29 harvesters.
You know, I don't know if I like that. He's that split Stalker choice, because he killed like 2 probes and 4 Stalkers. And at this point in the game, when both players are on 2 base with Chrono Boost and Nexi, replacing those probes is not as easy as replacing the Stalkers is not as easy as replacing the probes. DT did a little bit more harass, and now the work count is 46 to 38, but Choya with a great choice back at home to get the second Robo to try to produce more Colossi than his opponent faster.
If you just look at the resources lost, Choya lost more resources than Inori, 3,700 against 2,600, which is quite significant. Of course, the advantage for Choya is that he killed workers the entire time. During the entire game, he killed harvester after harvester, probe after probe, and therefore the income for Inori was a lot worse. But if you just now look at the production tab, we have the second robotics finishing for Choya. The same is true for Inori, both of them trying to go for the double Colossus production. And the Colossus count later on is just so important. The number of Colossus can really decide the game, and of course also the positioning in the fight itself. If you cluster up your units against an opponent that fans his Colossi out very well, you will lose no matter what.
Yeah, you're so right. This this battle here that we're about to see is going to be cancelled. Oh, actually, he reacted very quickly there. That would have been worse.
Yeah, you better. That was a little bit dangerous. Those Stalkers blink in the last second.
Only a few shields lost on one of the Stalkers. Choya's charge is a little bit ahead. He's also already got +1 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he does. So he's not going to be... He's going to be finding himself on even upgrades in just a second when +1 finishes for Inori. No +2 for Choya just yet, though.
Inori is suddenly ahead in the worker supply. He's still behind in not in Harvesters, but in Army, and Choya is now taking a third base. This game could not be more interesting. After what we've seen in the early game, we now have a match that could actually go either way, depending on how the micro and the unit control in the next battle is going to look like. Both of them starting +2 attack at roughly the same time. Double Colossus production. Choya still a little bit ahead with 5 to 3 Colossi. 5 to 4 now.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, the Immortal count is still going to be important. He's also got charge for his Zealots. That's something that Inori doesn't have. I don't think we're going to see a battle at all before this moment. I love that Choya's got these 4 Stalker groups going around the map. He's just... Oh, well, this time it's not going to be for the better here. He's trying to trap these Stalkers, actually. This is Choya's bait tactic. And it may work. Yeah, it may actually work. He takes on 2 blinks away, but now he finds himself trapped to the top left, and Choya's trying to hunt these Stalkers down. This would be a huge run for Choya. He's got the Stalker at the top as well. He can't escape from these. There's nowhere for them to go. Yeah. Great trap by Choya, and Inori tries to get out of here, but he's losing so many Stalkers. He tries to make this work somehow and to kill as many units from Choya as possible, but he's walking into another Colossus and he's losing every single one of the Stalkers. This was devastating for Inori. Oh wow, he could have saved that one too. He wasn't quite able to do it. At this point, Choya can walk across the map and stop the third base if he wants to, and well, why wouldn't he want to? He's going to get that base. Without all those Stalkers, it's going to be basically impossible for him to defend. He's going to try to fan out and get that concave you were talking about, and he will have the better concave. With all the units that Choya has on the ground, he will eventually break through. And Inori does not have charge yet. Choya does have the charge upgrade. Inori doesn't. This will give him another edge in the next fight. And Inori's quite hesitant to walk down the ramp, and he better be, because this would mean the end of him. If Choya is fanning out his units on the low ground and Inori actually walks into the choke point, he will lose his army. This is just so tense. The third base is under pressure. Inori is trying to defend it. The Colossi count is 8 to 9 in favor of Inori, though. But the more important thing here now is that the Zealot count is way in Choya's favor, and every Colossus shot that's on a Zealot is not on a Colossus. Really changes the battle. So if he wants to have the lead, he's going to need the Colossi to be firing it all the time. He doesn't have enough of a Colossus lead to make that actually work for him. He's clumped up again. Choya actually has the better angle, and he's the one attacking. No fan out here by Inori, and this is Colossus is dead. Number 2 and 3 follow, and there's just too much that's dying for Inori. Choya is walking up the ramp, putting pressure onto the Nexus and the Protoss army. Inori is in so much trouble now. He's losing way too much already. Yeah, the Immortals are really doing the damage here as well. Now they've closed the distance, and this is game ending. Choya is going to catch the reinforcing Colossus here if he wants it, and that is going to be game. This is definitely going to be the end of Inori. He is losing the last Colossus, now down to 80 supply against 95. There are still so many. How many actually are there? 4 Colossi for Choya. He has the better economy now. He has 3 mining bases, something that Inori cannot afford. His probes are dying. This is simply too much for him to handle. Way too much. GG. Choya takes the first game. And that is, it makes for a spectacular story. Choya, the coach of his team, sits in the booth, wins a game, takes an early lead, capitalizes on it, and the curse continues for Inori. TSL finds himself down a game here. It's quite sad for Inori, but still his ratio is to 0 wins in the Mukdong studio. I wonder what TSL wants to do against Choya. I think we will see a Zerg, actually, but which one? I think we might see Shine here. Yeah, I think so too. Shine would be a good option. Because Choya is not a heavy hitter for FXOpen, really. He's one of their, he knows a lot about the game. He helps coach the team. He makes decisions for them. But he's no Lucky, Yeah, you want to save Bolt a little bit. You want to save Hyun and Symbol. So Shine would definitely be a good choice. You can also go for Ragnarok, which would also be one of the players that I can definitely see Coach Lee sending out. I was actually, one thing I would say I was a little bit disappointed by in that last game was the Colossus split for Inori it was practically non-existent. The fight happened. He did not split his Colossi, which is the only thing he needed to do to hope to have a chance of holding against that attack. All of his Colossi were clumped. It was like he was nervous or something.
When he moved to the left, he lost 2 Colossi immediately because they were trailing behind and the entire army was clumped up, as you already mentioned. And with him just moving to the left and giving up the choke point, he was in a position, it was a loss-loss. Either you lose the army if you move in, or you lose your Nexus and the third base. So this was really tricky. But now, as it is, FXO takes the first win in the team match, and we will see what TSL is going to do. The next player is most likely going to be a Zerg. I'm pretty sure that we are seeing one of the, well, the lesser-known players.
Right. I don't think it's time for Hyun. It's not time for someone like Polt to come out, even.
Yep.
And I don't think we're going to see a Terran because
Ragnarok, Revival, Shine.
Choya's style is a little bit scary and threatening, and when you put a Terran player out against someone like that, especially when it doesn't have a lot of booth experience, it can be a little bit stressful, and I don't think they want to put that kind of strain on one of their lesser experienced Terran players right now.
Yeah, if you put actually one of your heavy hitters in there and Choya gets a lucky punch, then suddenly you're down options. So now let's see what's going on here. Who will be the next player for Team TSL? That is actually going to be Ragnarok
coming out here. So I think the choice to use Ragnarok is basically the same reason why we were talking about Shine coming out. Is even though Ragnarok has not played in individual leagues like Shine has, Ragnarok is one of the players that TSL Coach Lee talks about all the time as being one of his up-and-comers, one of his high-potential Zergs, and he's on, I would say, the same level as Shine.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting match. Zerg versus Protoss is coming up very soon before we are heading into the game. We're going to have a 5-minute break, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I think only interviews at the end today.
Get some popcorn, guys. Get Coke, beer, whatever your poison might be.
Also, you know, if you want to brush your teeth, go ahead and do that right now. I know a lot of you guys are up late. I don't want you to pass out watching this game because you didn't brush your teeth yet. You wake up in the morning and be like, I didn't brush my teeth. I was watching GS all night and I fell asleep. Go brush your teeth during the break, because what else are you doing, really? Just, I know a lot of you watching in bed right now. Get out of bed and go brush your teeth and then come back.
Alright, guys. Gonna see you in 5 for the next match. Ragnarok against Choya here at the GSTL. TSL is up against FXO.
Yeah, she had me make believing she gets just what she wants.